So good morning, my gorgeous tiger friends. And today I am super excited to mention a new contact that I have come across recently. Di McCann, come say hi.
Hi everybody, I'm so excited to be here today, really excited.
So I met Di on the internet, on Tinterweb, and Di and I do a very, very similar thing, but from slightly different angles. And I watched an interview with her and I was absolutely fascinated. So I knew that I would have to bring her on and have a chat so that she can tell you all about her work. But I just wanted to, before we start, Di, can I just say I'm very, very impressed with the tiger stripy animal printing. Did you do that on purpose?
I must admit, Rachel, I really did try. Couldn't quite find an orange one, but I thought blue's better than nothing. So.
Very good though. Well, before we got on here, I had a bright red top on, and I'm in my mum's like dog kitchen. I know people don't have a dog kitchen. I know this is a really weird concept, but my mum used to run a kennels, right? And this used to be her staff room and dog kitchen. And so it's lime green to avoid dirt. And I had this bright red jumper on. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. So I had to go and do a quick change into black. But it's got some breakfast on it, but you can't see, can you?
You're looking good. You're looking good.
So, Di, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into it.
Okay, so there's two angles to my work. And I got into both angles differently. So what I'm going to start with first is the sound work that I do. So I specialise in what we call vibrational sound therapy.
Okay.
Which is a bit of a mouthful, but effectively what I'm doing is working with energy, frequency and sound. Now,
which is music to my ears.
Yeah. And in simple terms, for anyone who's sort of getting to grips with this like language, it's if we just know and accept that everything is energy, all energy has a vibration and all vibration has a frequency. You don't always see energy, but it is there and it's quantum physics, and we'll get into the science part of it later. Okay. So I specialise in working with the sound, and the way I got into that was, you know, everyone in their life sort of has probably a breakdown moment. I had one.
Guilty. Hi.
You know, you just do, and I had my little moment.
It's an awakening, love.
It
is a breakdown, but it is. I saw this amazing, I don't know if it was a meme or a thing or something, but someone was talking about how like spiritual awakening or whatever was all kind of unicorns and angels and things. It's actually more like somebody like jumping from a burning building. It's not something that you get there by choice, and it's quite often brought on by trauma or a difficult circumstance or some kind of shock that completely shakes up your way of being and your perspective on the world. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, totally. I mean, when it happened to me, I was working in a corporate job, very stressful, very long hours. And I just, you know, it was like the job was so perfect, the life was so perfect that to anyone looking in, they think, what's the problem? But inside, honestly, I was just depleted of energy. I felt like I was dying inside. And the way I describe it is my soul just wasn't singing, and I felt suffocated, and I knew I had to leave. And much to the shock and horror of my husband, I just announced one day, that's it, I'm done, I'm going. And I was the highway journer at the time.
I'm sorry, can I just say, all the ladies are with sorry.
But you know what? It's just none of that mattered. I just knew I needed out, and I needed out quickly. So I did. And you know what it's like? It's divine timing, putting your trust and the faith in the universe. And as soon as I did it, Rachel, that was it. I got a job locally. I enrolled at college. You know, it was sort of done. Because I surrendered.
Yeah, there's something about it. We call it a leap of faith, don't we? And I know in my program, we talk about courage and surrendering and really taking a step when you don't know all the answers. And that's what that's about, isn't it? And when you take a step, you do actually find you're supported.
You do, totally. And it's just having, like you say, that courage to take that leap. But when you do, you are definitely supported, because on the bigger scheme of things, you're here to do something, and you're here to succeed at what you're meant to be doing, and you just have to have the faith in that. So as soon as I left, you know, fast forward 3 years, I qualified doing like holistic therapies, because I started to learning about crystals and energy centers in the body and chakras and energy and all of this stuff, which was just, it was like, give me more. And I was working in a crystal shop doing my therapies, and one day the lady who owned the shop, she had this like little chime bar. Actually, 1 minute. Here we go. Proper.
On then. It's cool.
So she gave me this chime bar, and when I played it, this is quite a high pitch. I don't know how this is going to come out. It might come out a bit tinny. Hold on. Let's have a go. Can you hear or not?
Yeah, no, we can hear it.
I didn't hit it too hard because it really is a high frequency. But anyway, she showed me that, and when I played it, something just clicked, and it was like, I remembered. Can't explain it. It was like a remembering, and it was like sound, right. I need to learn sound. And after that, everything just fell into place, and I qualified working in sound. And the way I work with it is I work with tuning forks. So I don't know if people who will be watching this have seen tuning forks. I'm not going to strike it, but it looks like this. That's one of them. Mm-hmm. And basically I love working with tuning forks because they're very instrumental, so they're very intricate in the way that you work. And I work with big chime pipes as well. Okay. And I've got some new additions coming soon, where I'm broadening out the work and adding some more sound coming in with the gong, but that's for another time. So that's how I got into sound, and it has just built and built. It's just amazing, and it's one of those things that I feel that whenever we're doing something that we're meant to be doing, you know, we talk about purpose and passion, and when you find that, it clicks and it's there and you're in alignment. And like I said, with the sound, for me, before I even started my studying and my course, I knew the sounds before I heard them. It was just this ancient knowing, this ancient remembering. So that's how I got into sound.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, though, because you're a mum as well, aren't you? I just want to kind of because most of the people that watch this have younger children. Yes. And I know that you kind of came into this, and kind of there's a story behind with your, obviously you don't have to go into details, but discovering it with your child. And absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So the other element where this sort of comes in is my son has a lot of needs. My son is adopted, and to be honest with you, we have been on, like most parents, you know, there's nothing special about me, but we have been on one hell of a journey. You know, we've had ups, downs, and all the messy bits in between. You know, it really has been, and through that journey, it has shown me, you know, Rachel, our children are the greatest teachers, aren't they? Of course. And without my beautiful son, I would not be doing the work that I'm doing now with children, because you really have got to live and breathe some of the experiences that you go through, so that then you pass on and you help other people. Absolutely. And with my son, he's really helped me to learn so much about trauma, the brain, nervous system, sensory processing difficulties, lots of studying around anxiety, ADHD, autism, you name it. There's lots of things going on that he has just broadened my whole world in such a magical way. And it's through this that I learned that children find it so, as adults, we find it hard to regulate our emotions, don't we? You know, it's hard, and especially if you've not had a nurturing childhood, let's say. So,
and I think that's fairly common, Di, as well. I mean, I think, bearing in mind like, 46, and when we were brought up, I mean, like, lots of people were smacked, you know, lots of people, all that kind of stuff was kind of fairly standard, do you know? And it does, obviously, and then you add into that, you know, people coming back from war, like my parents' parents had come back from war, and all of that stuff gets passed down, you know, trauma gets passed down, generational, I think, unless it's healed. And this is what I love about what we do, because it's about taking responsibility for your bit and seeing what you can heal and educating your children so that it has to stop with us, do you know, so it doesn't get passed on.
It absolutely does. And with the work that he's basically showing me my work, you know, this is what he's doing, he's guiding me along. And so with the children, I work with the sound and lots of other techniques like emotional regulation techniques and all the other knowledge that I have, and I bring that together and I help them learn how to regulate their emotions, how to relax, how to develop an awareness around their regulation and how they're coping with things. And there's lots of different things involved with that, but that's sort of the general high level view. Have I explained that okay? Do you need me to?
So tell me how it works, because obviously there's going to be some people watching here that are really down with the vibration and the frequency and right there, and some people are like, yeah, I kind of know it, but I don't really know it, and then other people will be like, what? Talk to me about, because I know quite a lot and I teach about vibration and frequency, so tell me how what you do, how that affects the body and the nervous system, and how it affects different emotions, and can you go into that for us?
Yeah, so there's a lot there, so I'm going to try and break it.
I just asked you 8 questions in one. If you could just reel that off, that would be fabulous. Don't worry.
I'll do it, Rachel, don't worry. Okay, I'll break it down as simply as I can. So if we go back to just, you don't have to agree with this, but let's just say that everything is energy, has a vibration and a frequency. Okay, so we're there. So we as individuals, our bodies are vibrating at a frequency. Okay, so this includes our brains, bodies, emotions, thoughts, everything is vibrating at a frequency. Okay, now when we have things that happen to us in our life, let's say trauma, that is going to affect our vibrational frequency in our body. Now, an easy way to try and break that down is there's lots of science behind this, lots of quantum physics, lots of scientists have studied this in various ways. Now, the way I will try and explain it for you here is that we think of our emotions, yeah? So our emotions carry a vibration, an energy pattern. If we are told as children, you are no good, I'm sick of you, go away, all of that type of thing is going to go in, and it's stored in our body. That trauma, that emotion is stored in the body, in the nervous system and the cellular system. Okay, now what that can look like is, I don't know how good these pictures are going to look, Rachel, but it might give you a little indication. So if I show you this, this is some studies of water, okay, that a scientist did. Dr. Emoto, you're probably aware of his work. And basically what he did was I'll take that away for a minute and then I'll show you. He studied the molecular structure of water. And he took water samples, and one water sample had lots of beautiful thoughts, words, prayers sent to it. The other water sample had lots of horrible words and meanings said to it.
Because words have energy too, right? So
yeah, the words, thoughts, emotions, everything. Remember, everything is energy, everything. Even this water has energy. And when he went to defrost the water to look at the structure, he captured it. And this is what he captured. So this is a water sample of somebody saying, I'm sick of you. And this is the same water sample of somebody saying the word love.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, just to be able to quickly see that.
Yeah.
And bear in mind that we are, what, 90% water?
Yeah. So I was going to say that our bodies are approximately 70% water.
That was close.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, my pride go and get a little quiz. No, I'm joking.
Something like that, you know.
Yeah, but it means that our bodies are 70% water. So if you imagine what all of these thoughts, words and emotions are doing to our bodies on a cellular level, that's what's happening. Yeah. Now that sounds quite complex, but if you look at this one, when you work with sound goes in, and sound travels through water 5 times faster than air, 5 times faster. So our bodies are the perfect mediums for responding to sound. Okay.
Sorry, my phone's.
That's okay.
So it's not my phone, it's my mum's phone. So I hope she gets it in a minute. Professional to the end. But this is why music speaks to us. I mean, I talk for hours about this. I do similar kinds of conversations where we talk about how music speaks to you on a cellular level. We feel the vibrations. We have different music that makes us feel different emotions. You put a song on it, it can make you cry and it can help trigger an emotion. You put another song on it, uplifts you. I mean, that kind of, and you feel it, don't you? I'm a bit of a dancer. I got to stand near the speaker. Do you know, I want to be over by the speaker.
You're a toe tapper, are you?
I'm the first one on the dance floor and the last one to leave, do you know? And I want to be by the speaker. I want to feel it in my bones. Do you know?
It's like, when the way it works with the sound is in very simplistic terms. If you place one vibrating object next to another, you're going to raise the vibration. Okay. So if you have all this trauma and all this stuff stored in your body, when you use the sound and the vibration going in, if you're down here and the frequency's up here, it brings you up to here. It just works. And I work with lots of different frequencies for lots of different reasons with children. However, again, this might not be very clear. Probably if you look at the top one.
Yeah.
So the science behind all of this that we're talking about is called cymatics. Okay. And literally this picture here, I put it in a bit closer for your people. All that picture is water with a colour put in, so you can see the beautiful pattern, and the frequency is played, and then you see the frequency and the vibration. So if we, in simple terms, say our body's water, my body's getting sound and frequency, this is how my body can look inside. Nice, light, clear, happy, healthy body. Does that explain?
Yes, it does. It completely does, because we all know, and we all know, when you're around someone that feels fizzy and excited, and kind of that's infectious, and it's the same when someone is feeling very down or low. You can feel that too. And particularly children are very, very sensitive, and particularly if you have a sensitive child, I find, because one of my children is very, very sensitive, particularly to noise, and depending on the sensitivity of the child, sound can have a real impact. So I'm guessing then that the higher vibrations you work with to clear, so you work on clearing blocks, or people talk about blocks in energy, don't they? Do you use different vibrations for different kind of effects?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's almost like the lower frequencies are more for grounding and balancing, and the higher frequencies are more for clearing and connection. Okay. But when I actually work with children, I start off by working with them either in the form of a workshop or programs. So I bring everything together, so they get to learn about what we're talking about, basically, but in a way that children can understand it. So the programs are very interactive and they're fun, like really fun, and they just love it. So they learn about energy, they learn about the science behind it, they learn how their emotions affect them, how they affect other people, how their energy affects other people. They work with sound, and what's really important is that they get to feel how it makes them feel. There's a big difference there, you know, to someone saying, oh, sound can do this. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me. Mm-hmm. Feel it. And at the beginning of each session, we check in where we are, and then we check in afterwards. And if they've come in and they're a bit like not having a good day, by the end of it, they are so much more calmer and relaxed. So they visually see it and they also feel it, which is important. Yes. Really important
for them to trust themselves and to understand their own experience. We all know that we all learn best by doing and experiencing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And what it's doing is it's giving them empowerment tools and techniques to learn that is going to equip them as they're growing up and as adults, it sounds like really simple when you say that, but that's huge, because there are lots of adults around, and ones that I work with, that I know that if they'd had some of the things that I'm able to share, it would have helped them work through things maybe a bit easier than where they're finding themselves now. So the impact really is mental health, emotional health, which is hugely important. Really important.
It's everything. And if you talk about children living to their full potential, the single biggest thing that is going to stop them doing that is their mental and emotional well-being. I mean, I know when I'm stressed or I'm worried about something, or you have some kind of trauma in your life, or some kind of, you know, like if there's a disruption in your family or anything like that, you're not in a position where you're in your peak flow, do you know? And children learn best in the zone, right? When play, and for play to happen, that's a free-flowing thing, and negative emotions can come in and difficult experiences, and it can disrupt that, and it really makes it difficult for children to learn. I remember from my experiences with my own children, having a child that really couldn't concentrate and couldn't be still, and could be quite disruptive with others, and seeing the work that I've done with him with energy and emotions and music, and seeing the huge difference in him, and EFT, all this kind of very similar branches of the same kind of work, and seeing him go from really struggling to blossoming and softening and being able to focus. And suddenly, I think sometimes people think children are difficult children, when actually what we need to be understanding is that they're having a difficult time, and that's getting in the way of them being able to be the energetic reflection of who they really truly are underneath all that difficulty or trauma.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, some of the children that I've worked with, you know, like when you talk about some children like some frequencies and some like other ones, a lot of children, you know, a very common question I'll be asked is, you know, my child has autism or sensory processing difficulties, they don't like sounds, they wear the headphones, they're just so noise sensitive. But these frequencies that I work with, the children love. And they'll be drawn to different ones because we're all different, you know. That's amazing.
That's the word just there, isn't it? We resonate with what it is that's drawing us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, some children will like, there's a tuning fork that you place on your body, and that sends so it's different to the one I showed you, and that sends the vibration in deeply into the body. So if they're very noise sensitive, what you'll find is that a lot of children will regulate via humming, and I've hummed my things to talk about. Yeah.
Hummed for about a year and a half, and until I understood what was going on with it, I didn't really understand that he was regulating himself, and he'd found a way. He'd found, like, I was like, that's, once I understood, I was like, that is so clever that he'd learned that and found that. You know, he also whistled for about a year as well, and it's just he giving himself the frequency that he needed. Phenomenal.
It's amazing, you know. And a lot of children who hum love the tuning fork that goes on the body. You know, for children who
that vibration
can't even talk, so they can't follow the program, but they're loving the vibration. So, you know, they'll have a tuning fork, just take it away and work with it at home. Amazing, job done.
And do you find that they then become very intuitive? They get to choose, is there different parts of the body that they feel they might?
Yeah, absolutely. Children just amaze me, the way, I mean, you know, sometimes, Rachel, I look at these children and they are so intuitive, so in tune, and they're almost showing me my job, because I think I've done years of studying for this, and you're coming in and you're just getting it like this. Yeah. You know, they absolutely love it. And I know that when I work with my son, he is one of the ones that likes the tuning fork to go on the body. He doesn't so much like to listen to it at the moment, and that's fine. But his place is his feet. And the reason he'll like it on his feet is because he's very high, bouncy energy, and the feet brings him back down and grounds him. Yeah. So it's really interesting how they respond. I love it. You know, like we said, each child is different.
Yeah. And we learn everything from them, don't we? So how can, Di, what could someone do? I'm going to give people your details so that they can come and check you out and have a look at your work, or go and find out more about it. And I'm going to put all that underneath. But what can people do to try? Because I know that there's things on Spotify. I've heard you recommend things before, and it was something that when I watched your interview, was it with Claire Ford, maybe?
Yeah, Claire.
I've done that. And I'd come across probably 6-12 months ago, come across some sound frequency stuff. I was like, oh, that's weird. I was just sort of flicking through them. And they're all different, they come at hertz, don't they?
They do,
They're different levels of frequency, aren't they? And I just remember flicking through them. My son was there, and we got one. And none of them really affected us until we hit this one. And oh my goodness, it did something to my solar plexus. And Rory looked at me and went, that one makes me feel weird. And it dropped both of us. Now, both of us had come through a trauma type situation. Yeah. That solar plexus bit, it really did something.
It really does, yeah. It's like, I mean, I listen to sounds every day. Obviously, I work with it. I love it. And every day I will probably want to listen to something different. And each frequency will take me somewhere differently to where I need to be. So it's really about being in tune and understanding where you are, and sound will take you there. If you're not sure how you're feeling a bit wobbly, if you find that right music, that right frequency, boom, you're there. It's going to really help to calm you. So I would say we've already spoken about humming. Yes. But humming, just, I can't talk about humming enough, you know, and I call it like happy humming, healthy bodies, buzzing bodies, you know, it's an all-rounder humming. And it's really good for, if you have a child who feels quite down, and maybe some of the older ones who may be showing signs of, you know, like depression and stuff like that, humming releases a chemical within the body that is shown to actually help with depression. It's called nitric oxide. You know, so humming produces natural chemicals and molecules within the body, and it's fun, really fun, you know. And as adults, it takes us back to our childhood. Yeah. So be fun. Let's have fun, you know. I'm always humming in the car, always humming. So I would say that. And going back to the interview that I did with Claire, there was somebody I recommended, which I believe was Jonathan Goldman. Now, you can find him on YouTube, and there's one track on there. Have a flick through, see what resonates, because there's lots of different stuff on there. But one which I really like is called Cosmic Hum. And effectively, it's really clever because it's just lots of different people humming. So if you're trying to get your child to concentrate and focus, that is really good music, because, you know, we've not really spoken about this part of it, but patterns and rhythm and repetition is really important for the brain waves. So if you've got something like that going in the background, and this is quite a good pattern into it, it really helps your child to focus and concentrate. Yeah, so see how they get on with that.
Yeah, this is really useful for, you know, like a lot of children don't have their fiddle toys and the twiddle.
Yes.
It's that kind of thing. And if you have a child like I do, who cannot sit still, who really, I mean, he's very calm. He's not calm. He's bored. Right, and he's very high energy anyway, but he's also suffered with hyperactivity at the time, and that that noise, it does it. Obviously he'd learned how to do it himself, but it's the same thing with twiddle. It just takes the focus away, and it almost kind of just puts a, I don't want to say dampener, but it does something that just calms the nervous system, I think.
Yeah, it regulates, and that's what it is. It's like when you get right down to all of it, you know, it's all these modern day medicine diagnosis and everything. When you get really down to the nitty gritty, what you want to be looking at is regulating the nervous system. So a dysregulated nervous system is going to send you strange, yeah, you're going to fidget, you basically can't regulate. That's all it is. You cannot regulate.
Yes.
So the brain is saying, I need to move, I've got to move, and because I've got to move, I can't focus on you trying to teach me, I can't learn because my body needs to move. Yeah. And all these children are doing is they are just being in tune with who they are. That's all they're doing. Yeah, it's not natural to sit for 7 hours.
No.
Natural. So I totally get it, because my child could not sit still either, and it's very interesting because in certain environments he's very calm, and then you put him in a different environment for different stimulus and you've got a different child again. Yeah. So it is all about the regulation and helping them come into themselves and learn to navigate those different stimulus and environments, and the tools and the music and the sound and everything that we're talking about helps them do that, gets them to basically find their zone and their coping mechanisms.
Amazing. I just love what you do, Di, so much.
What you do.
About the whole conversation that we have, everything's talking about harmony, it's talking about being tuned in, it's even talk about intuition, it's like all that kind of, it's all about music and musicality. I mean, I always have this saying, I say universe actually means one song. And I experience, I know I spoke to you about this when we had our first chat a week or two ago. I had this experience when I went to a festival and I went along to a singing tent. It was like I was thinking, well, this is a bit bizarre as well. Let's go and have a go at this. Someone was looking after my children for an hour. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go and do something. And I ended up in this big dome tent with 200 people. And then we got split into these 4 different parts where we were all singing different parts. And we learnt this tribal melody. And I kid you not, we sang it once we'd learnt all the parts and we all sang together. The resonance in that domed tent from 200 people singing at different harmonies and different levels. I came out, I don't know what it did to me. I came out, I cried for about 10 or 15 minutes. And they said that can be really common because it actually, how different vibrations can just get to emotions that you didn't even know that you were holding. You hold so much, you hold so much in your body, like in your hips and your shoulders and everywhere. And to find just that sound would release it like that was just, it blew me away. So is there anything else that you think my people should know? Because I've asked you all the things that I want to ask you, but
let me see, we've covered the science, haven't we? Yeah, I would just say that, you know, like if you've got a child and you're working with sound and music or anything, never underestimate the power. Yeah. So if they're listening to music, they are in training, you know, the tracks that we just spoke about, like Jonathan Goldman, when they're listening to music, what they are doing is they are entraining their brain to focus on the sound, and it will stop them focusing on stressors like anxiety and lots of other things. Yeah. If your child's struggling to sit still, play the music, the brain will focus on the music and stop focusing on my body can't sit still. It will just go in and regulate. And sound, we don't only hear sound through the ear, we hear it through our skin. So it's absorbed in every way possible.
That's why I need to stand next to the speaker, babe.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, you're just really soaking up the vibration, Rachel.
In the bass.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's just never underestimate the power. And sometimes the simplest of things are the most powerful. It doesn't have to be complicated for it to work.
No, just a simple hum. Di, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much for your wonderful stories and expertise and bringing this into...
Oh, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, Rachel. Thank you.
How can people find you, my love? Just give us a quick reel off of how people can come and find you if they want to know a bit more.
Yeah. Best place, website, because that will have all my social media links, contact details. So website is www.vibrationalsoundtherapy, which is all one word, .co.uk.
Amazing. And I've got a bit of a thing before you go, Di. Would you just give me a massive love it? You're so good. Thank you, my love. Have an amazing day.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Bye.